Tractors are good at doing three things: lifting stuff, pulling stuff, and running equipment like a baler or something, right? I thought that we could talk maybe about 5 things today that have to do with tractors. The first one being a question I hear all the time: what size tractor do I need for my house? Right? You hear that a lot. Another one you hear is, do I need 4-wheel drive or 2-wheel drive? The third thing we'll talk about just for a second is, should I buy new or used? Because new ones are expensive, right? 20 grand, maybe more. Then we'll go out there and we'll talk about when you set up your tractor, you're probably going to need to add weight to it or ballast, maybe in the front, maybe in the back. So we'll talk about a few options there, and then we'll go over some basic maintenance as far as a lot of it's similar to automotive: oil changes, transmission oil changes, fuel filter changes. Looking at how to properly grease a grease fitting. It sounds simple enough, right? I've seen people do it completely wrong. So we'll talk about just those things like that, and then whatever questions you have. So I thought I'd just start by saying, the first question, like, what size tractor do I need? And basically, if I just stick with John Deere for right now, because they're pretty simple in their nomenclature. I'll just pass this around. It's a 1 Series tractor. I don't work for John Deere or anything. I just live the truck. So a 1 Series would be considered a subcompact, and generally that would be good up through like maybe 3 acres, maybe more. The next category, or like their 2 Series, would be considered a compact tractor. Now we're getting up to going from maybe a 1,500 pound tractor to maybe 2,400 pounds. And that would look similar to this. I'll just pass it around so you can just kind of see the pictures. And the next one would be a compact utility. Maybe you have 10 acres. You're getting up in the 35 horsepower, 50 horsepower range. That's in the range where you can start maybe baling hay. You gotta lift some really heavy loads. We're talking about a 3,000 pound tractor, and then up from there, 20 horsepower. But all these things are subject to change. You may have 20 acres that's all hilly and trees and stuff, and you have 1/3 of an acre that's cleared around your house. You might only need to push one, And in this case, say you have 3 acres and it's flat and it's great soil, and you want to have a garden that's 1 acre, and you want to have, maybe some livestock and whatever where you need to move around feed. Well, you may be able to use a compact tractor in that case. A lot of times they'll say, whatever you think you need, go 1 size bigger. But I would just say, when you get into the weights, if you ever want to transport this tractor to a dealer, you get something like this, and John would know this, it's hard to move some of that stuff unless you have a good tow rig and a double axle trailer. So you have to consider that too. So this would be like your compact, your larger compacts, and then like a compact utility. In a compact utility, you're going to get into this stage where you can have a cab tractor. It has air and heat, which is great. But if you have to go through the woods or something, you may not want that because you're going to have busting the windows out of it. So things like that. So that just kind of gives you just a rough feel. So I guess I would ask, does anybody today in here have a tractor in this category that they use?
I have all of them.
Have all, okay. You have seen, we can look.
He has all of them. Okay.
Yeah, and so when we look at these, the second question that I had is, do you need 4-wheel drive or not? And what do you think, just from your experience?
Absolutely.
And why do you say that?
Because we use them where you're not supposed to, when we're not supposed to.
Right?
Yeah, you gotta have it. When you spend that kind of money, another few $1,000s.
Right, so it costs more up front, but the resale value is gonna be better. The newer tractors, for the amount of power that they put out, They don't weigh a whole lot, even though that sounds like a lot, that's not. And so tractors are good at doing three things: lifting stuff, pulling stuff, and running equipment like a baler or something, right? And so if you have a lot of horsepower, but you can't pull out a tree that's this big around because you have a two-wheel drive, that's kind of dumb, right? Or you need to lift a round bale, a hay that might weigh 1,800 pounds. Well, you're not going to lift that with this, or with my tractor that I have here. I think it'll lift, 600 pounds at full height. So you have to consider kind of the job that you're trying to do. I think four-wheel drive, if you're going to get a new one, I'd say definitely get it, even though it's expensive. If you can find a used one, it's probably good too, mainly because the tractors just don't weigh that much anymore. So it's
You
good to
guys,
have that
you guys
covered.
have four-wheel drive tractors?
Does anybody have a two-wheel drive tractor that they just love?
I didn't know they made them.
Yeah,
It's called a Skag or a Z-Mark at that point.
right.
Call it a lawnmower.
So I mean, if you're using a tractor just for maybe with a front end loader and you're moving pallets around and you're on blacktop and you don't have a bunch of hills, it's fine for sure. But I would just recommend that. So the next topic is, should you buy new or used? That's always tough, right? Because the new ones, I had a friend that just bought the Kubota BX, the small subcompact, and he said that it was cheaper to buy a new one with financing than it was to get one like 3 years old. So his was, let's just say it was 15 grand. The used ones, because they hold their value, they were asking like 13 grand. No warranty, no financing, no package deal, nothing. So it was actually cheaper for him to buy new, and he got zero financing for, I don't know, 3 years or something, and he just planned and paid it out. And so sometimes it's cheaper, but used, of course, should be less. You're also going to have to probably no maintenance more than maybe on a new one. Maybe a new one maintenance is covered. So just things like that you have to weigh out. I mean, people that have them, did you buy yours new or used?
I've done both. In my experience, typically, the thing about a tractor is you're running it hard, you're running it heavy, and it's nice to buy something new when you're going to be using it like that, because if you buy it used, you don't know how it's been run. And I guess that's kind of the same way with a car, but again, in my personal experience, if you can go new, it's bad. I would say it's better. It's more preferred, but that being said, we have used tractors, especially in that utility class that we use, that are absolutely fantastic. If you can get like older, especially like, not older, but just better made, a better time.
Yeah.
Those types of tractors. Excellent quality. So.
Some guys can't buy new. I mean, Kubota's got 0% financing too, that they're giving out. Like, go to a Kubota dealership, you won't. I don't know where the used tractors. I don't know where those leased tractors, when they come back, I don't know where they go, but we never found one. They go to auctions and guys buy them up, before they ever come onto the market.
And a lot of times if you buy a used tractor that has a loader on it, it might be beat to hell anyhow. Somebody trying to push down stumps and stuff with it. So yourself, you're not going to do that, but if you find one with a loader, it may run
hit
good,
it
but
full
the
speed.
transmission might be screwed up. So,
Hell yes, I do.
four-wheel drive, yeah. Okay, so any questions on that so far? The other thing you're going to see, if you're not familiar with tractors at all, is you're going to see there's a hitch on the back called a 3-point hitch on modern tractors, and they're going to say it's a category 1 3-point hitch, or a category 2, or category 3. And what that is basically the size of the hitch, the size of the pins on the implement. So most, probably these 2 or 3 are going to be category 1. So when you go to Tractor Supply and they say, oh, I got a 5-foot box blade, it's Cat 1. That means it's going to fit probably these tractors here. The lower pins are 7/8. And the top link pin is 3/4.
Like hobby tractors.
Yeah. So just so you know, when you see that, if you see something that says, well, this implement's category 3, and you got this size tractor, it's not going to fit it. It's made for something that's like 100 horsepower.
So if you buy a tractor and you start buying attachments to it, but then you upgrade 2 years later to a bigger tractor, is it your thought that you would have to buy your implements again?
Not
Because they won't
necessarily.
mount up?
I mean, if you go from, say in this range, category 1, say this is category 2. A lot of times you can use your category 1 implement on your category 2 tractor. There's a bushing you can put over those pins to make it fit your lower arms. Now, you might end up breaking that implement or bending pins because your tractor has a lot more power, but if you go up, a lot of times you can go from Cat 1 to Cat 2.
Can't go the other way though.
Not as easily. Just because it gets very heavy. I mean, you think about it like say a 4-foot rototiller in the back of your tractor. Subcompact. That may weigh 400 pounds, but a 6-foot rototiller weighs like 700 pounds. And you get to a point where the small tractor's not going to be able to lift it or run it. You're not going to have enough power.
Yeah, man, I'm talking about realest, one of the realest to try. My family, SOE, got the tools to survive. Yeah.